That's why this game against Spain is going to shock a lot of people because you're expecting a Spain that wants to dominate possession.
Yeah.
You're expecting an Italy that's going to play defensively.
Yeah.
But right now we've seen Italy come out, and play an attractive brand of football.
Yeah. Hello and welcome to the Desky Preview Show where we talk about football matters as we continue the coverage of the UEFA Euro 2024 currently underway in Germany. My name is yours truly, Mr. E, and I'm not alone in the studio as I'm joined by the man who's going to be giving us more facts, more predictions and more insights at what is happening in Germany. Ladies and gentlemen, let me present to you yours truly, Mr. Mo.
Hey, Mr. E. I love how you say more facts, more statistics. I'm like, he's putting me in everything there.
Yeah, and you're going to be on the spotlight.
Well, I'm excited to be talking all things Euro this time around. Usually our focus is on local football, but this time around we're talking about the mini AFCON, which is the Euro that's taking place in Germany.
Yeah.
The reason why they're calling it the mini AFCON, I'll let you go do your own research, but someone had pulled the figures and said almost every European country has at least five or more players of African descent in their teams, but we'll talk about that later. I.e. France. Apparently they have 24. So we're not here to discuss that. We're here to discuss the matches that are coming up. Obviously, we start off with Spain versus Italy. It's a big game in that group, especially after Spain put 3 past Croatia. And the group currently looks at Spain, Italy, and then it's Albania and Croatia at the bottom. Then we have Netherlands, who also had a great start to their tournament. Very disappointing in the fact that they had to start a little bit slow, but they managed to get a 2-1 win and they actually sit top of their group. They face France, who sit second. Poland and Austria are sitting third and fourth in that group. Last but not least, we've got Denmark versus England. That game is going to have a very interesting one because England are favorites to go out of this group as winners, and they're going to be facing Denmark, a very good side that played out to a draw against Slovenia, and obviously Slovakia is the other team. Serbia is the other team in that group. So a lot for us to cover, a lot for us to talk about. But Mr. E, are you ready?
I'm always ready. Are you ready yourself?
I'm a little ready.
It's certainly mouth-watering clashes that we'll be taking a look at today. And what are your comments? Do you think what do you think is going to happen come end of this tournament? Who's going to take it away? Some people are pitting France, and I heard somebody saying for the very first time Spain is going to take it.
I think people are reacting to results. I heard someone else say Belgium. Sorry, Belgium is going to go on and win the tournament. My favorites to win the tournament, I won't lie, is Portugal.
Yeah.
If it's not Portugal,
is it because of Ronaldo, Cristiano?
No, not because of Cristiano Ronaldo, but the balance that Portugal has, I think they have a fantastic team. They still have Rafael Leao, Diogo Jota, Cristiano Ronaldo, Bernardo Silva.
Yeah.
They have a good spin of players, but also it's the way they're playing their football at the moment that's giving me the confidence.
Yeah, most certainly. Do you have any comments or suggestions on what you want to see on this show? Let us know, and then we'll be able to let our executive producer take a look at it.
Rasmus Højlund, thunderous! It's an absolute net buster.
And now let's quickly take a look at our first featured game. It's Spain. They will be going head-to-head with Italy, who are the current holders. And that's a Group B encounter. I almost said another name.
Yeah, you almost said a teacher.
Mr. Mo.
my teaching days are over. But
this one promises to be a very, very big one, especially after Spain displayed an eye-catching result when they played against Croatia. They won 3 goals to 0.
You can see that Spain have come a long way since the days of Vicente Del Bosque.
Yeah.
Those were great days for Spanish football. They won 2 Euros back-to-back, and they won a World Cup. And I think this time around they're coming back with a new generation. It took some time to actually put this new generation together. But if you look at it now, there's no more, hey, they still have Ramos, PK.
Yeah.
Because remember what happened after the 2012 Euros was that we'd always compare every inside to the Spain side of 08, 2010 and 2012.
Previous,
Exactly. So
generation.
you'd look at a Busquets in the midfield, you'd want to replace and say, oh, Rodri is the new Busquets. You'd look at a Xavi in the midfield, you say, this guy is the new Xavi.
Yeah.
And they did that with Thiago Alcantara.
Yeah.
You know, it was like Spain was leaving a generation of great footballers, but they needed a rebirth. But because they had so many players from that generation still active, they weren't able to let those players go.
Yeah.
So players like Piqué were still playing, players like Sergio Ramos were still playing, Busquets was still playing. I mean, the core of the team was still players from another time, a different time. And now when you look at it now, the only player you can honestly say that reminds you of the old Spain, maybe 2014 Spain in the 2014 World Cup, would be Alvaro Morata, because he was part of that squad. But otherwise, everyone else is new, you know. There's all that old guard is all retired. I mean, when you think of some of those players, I mean, Iniesta's still playing in China. Xavi is now a manager at Barcelona, possibly has left. And Xabi Alonso is now coaching at Bayer Leverkusen. So that generation is done, dusted, and gone. This is a new Spain. And you see it also in the way they played against Croatia. Usually when Spain were playing, you'd expect a very Barcelona-esque performance where you'd look at the numbers and you'd say, hey, they dominated possession. But against Croatia, they missed out on dominating possession. They had 48% of the ball to Croatia's 52% of the ball. They had less chances at goal, with Croatia having 16 chances at goal. They had around 12. But at the same time, they had bigger chances. So it's a team that's looking brand new. It's looking like a new generation altogether. You know, all that experience that they had with the 2010 to 2012 squad has now gone and has moved on. And this new generation now has a chance to write their own story in football.
Most certainly. And they are going against an Italian side. I think it will be fair to say they are also going through a regeneration, because most of the big guys, the time that, rather the team that we're used to is either retired and some of them are injured.
Yeah, well, that's true. I mean, right now, the biggest thing about this team is that, you know, you see, first of all, goalkeeping department. Donnarumma is now coming to his boots and his gloves very well after a couple of Euros and World Cup where they were trying to see what he was all about. But what's more important is what's happening in front of him. I mean, for a long time, like we said, Bonucci and it's not Kelin Bazali. Were players that you would expect to see in that squad. I mean, that breakthrough of Bonucci, Chiellini, and Bazali was the foundation for what Spain was, especially in the 2010s. And that was after that generation of Cannavaro back in the 2006 World Cup. But right now they have a good balance. I mean, in that previous installments of the competition, you were relying on the brilliance of Mario Balotelli or a Pirlo in the midfield to carry the team. But now you see what they did in the previous Euro, and you can't even name a star from that team. You know, I mean, they were a balanced team.
Solid, balanced team.
Exactly.
11,
And the thing is, you have to give Spalletti the credit, because he took a team that didn't have any stars to it in that time. I mean, by then, Federico Chiesas were still young players, and by the time you see them in this competition, you're expecting them to carry the team. But one thing Italy has is great defense and a great balance, and that's what's going to carry them. I mean, even if you look at how they went to their first match, a 2-1 win, very good win against Albania. But you know, you have to give Spain the flowers for the game against Croatia.
They suffered a scare there, because I understand, for those who watched the match, Albania managed to score in 23 seconds. Again, one of the fastest goals to be seen at the Euros, I think. I mean, that was a big scare.
It was a big wake-up call, man. And it what Italy did from there was a statement to say, we're not going to come into this tournament and rely on what we usually do. We're not going to come here and sit back and hope that we have our great defense that will carry us the whole way. And that's if you think about the 2006 World Cup, the star player there was Cannavaro. You look at their last Euro they played, it was the Bonucci show. You know what I mean? So it's always been a centre back that has carried this Italian side. But this time around, they've come back, and look, they came back from a 1-0 deficit to win 2-1. It's saying something about the style of football they're playing. They're playing a lot more progressively than they have in previous tournaments. And that's what excites me about Spalletti's Italy at the moment, is that then you can't expect that's why this game against Spain is going to shock a lot of people, because you're expecting a Spain that wants to dominate possession. You're expecting an Italy that's going to play defensively. But right now, we've seen Italy come out, you know, and play an attractive brand of football. They're looking for the goals. You're looking for Spain. They're doing the same thing. So we're looking at a game that might have a lot of goals, and it might be a very interesting one to watch. When
Italy played against Albania, do you think the fact that they got scored in the early minutes, was that a matter of complacency, or they were looking at the next game, which is Spain already? They thought maybe they're going to roll over Albania and go on to collect the maximum points, of which they did at the end of the day.
What do they say? If you don't buy the tickets, you don't win the raffle. I just think that Albania bought their ticket. You know, they went for it. They gambled it and they got the goal, and that's what the most important thing about that situation right there. So whether or not you think Albania is a good soccer team or not, they're in the Euros.
Yeah.
And to think about it, they had to play a qualifier to get into the Euros.
Into the Euros.
So you can't underestimate any team that's playing the Euros right now.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what Albania proved in that by scoring the first goal against Italy.
Yeah, most certainly. And now when we take a look at Spain, there's the 16-year-old Barcelona forward.
Yeah.
I just wanted to find out from you, what were you doing at 16 years old? Because he is a young man. He's playing at the grandstand at 16-year-old. I mean, like by South African standards, you would be at school right now.
Yeah.
I mean, so what were you doing, if I can ask, at 16-year-old?
But
let's
just say that Luis de la Fonte's brand, I mean, I don't know if it speaks true to his real brand as his personal brand, but one thing about this man is that he's always given opportunities to young Spanish players.
Yeah.
I mean, he brought in Pedri, Gavi, you know, he's brought in so many young players into the side. And I like how he's approaching it. And people are forgetting that he has a history of coaching under 18, under 20, and then graduating to coaching under, the first team of Spain.
Yeah.
So he's seen these young boys coming through the ranks.
Yeah.
And because he's worked with the younger divisions as well, he's confident to take a player like Yamal and say, listen, I trust that you can do something good.
Yeah.
I mean, remember when Pedri had to play I think it was the under 17 World Cup while also having to go play in the actual World Cup.
Yeah.
And people were saying, Pedri, was it Gavi or Pedri? I'm not sure. And they were saying that they were making memes about how tired he is at that age, playing all these tournaments and still playing in Barcelona's first team. So if you have the talent, if you have the player, I mean, the coach at this point wants to get these boys in early. I mean, he wants to get them in early. He wants them to understand how it feels to play at that level. Yeah. And look, 2, 3, 4 years from now, maybe 2 World Cups from now, you'll be looking at a Spain that's challenging to win the whole thing. Yeah. So I think it's looking long term, even beyond this year's Euro, to say players like this need to be put into the national team early. Yeah. They need to get a sense and feel for what's going on. Yeah. And by the time it's their turn, when they're the main man, then the experience will will make the difference.
Most certainly. Now let's quickly take a look at the head-to-head encounters between Spain and Italy. I just wanted to find out something. Who has enjoyed the upper hand between the two nations?
I mean, if you look at it head-to-head, I mean, in the past, Spain, the last time they met was in the UEFA Nations League, and Spain won that game by 2-1, and that was their second win in a row against Italy. The last time Italy were able to beat Spain was in the Euros, and they beat them on penalties 4-2. That was a 1-1 draw. Yeah. So when you look at it, it looks like it's Spain's game to lose. Yeah. The last time Italy were able to beat Spain outright in this competition was way back in 2016 when they beat them by 2-0. So it's been a long history between the two sides. Head-to-head, Spain has not been able to keep a clean sheet against this team in about 3 games, but Italy has not been able to do it in 5 games. Yeah. So what that tells you is that Spain do have the upper hand when you look at history. Yeah. But are we going to look at current form as well and then try and paint a picture from there?
Yeah, well, certainly. Okay, now let me just put your head on the block here. We just wanted to find out, from you, who do you think is going to walk away victorious? And the chances are whoever is going to win between these two teams is going to top that group come end of the group stages.
I think it's a very difficult group, and Italy will know that if they lose to Spain, Spain has already won the group, then it's going to be a fight for second and third, obviously. Yeah. So it's going to, for me, I honestly think this game ends in a draw. Okay. I think these two teams cancel each other out. It ends in a 1-1 draw, and then from there, Italy will win the game. Croatia will win the game against Albania. Yeah. Then on the last day, Spain and Italy is going to be, Croatia versus Italy is going to be a big game. So I think this one, by all writings on the wall, looks like a draw through and through.
Okay, those are the predictions of Mr. Moy saying Spain and Italy would probably play to a draw. You are still watching the Disc Preview Show as we continue to cover the matches in Germany, where the Euro 2024 games are taking place. Now we take a look at the second featured game. It's Germany. They'll be going head-to-head with the Three Lions. That's England in a Group C clash. Mr. Mo.
Yes, Mr.
That's a big one.
Hey.
That's a big one.
I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than this when you think about the context of this group. At this moment, it's a group that has England, Denmark, Slovenia, and Serbia in it. So there's a lot to be, how do you put it? Like, there's a lot to be desired, especially from the first game that England played. I mean, Gareth Southgate is lucky to have walked away with a result.
That was the 1-0 win.
Yeah.
And by the way, they've already lost their captain, Kylian Mbappe. Do you think he will be able to come back? Because I understand he broke his nose, and now they're trying to sort of like manufacture a mask for him.
Mr. Ease, forgive Mr. Ease, too excited. He's already speaking about the next match.
Yeah. I'm already speaking about the next.
If you're like Mr. E, you know, hurry this conversation
Yeah.
up. Click on the chapters below, skip to the next section, and you can hear all about France. But for
Yeah.
now, we're talking about England, Mr.
Yeah.
E.
Oh
You're
yeah.
confusing them.
Man. Oh yeah. Yes. England. They won 1-0, man.
No, Mr. E, we're talking about
That's
England.
the fun that we're having in the studio.
Get at Southgate,
Yeah.
Bellingham,
Yes,
Trent Alexander-Arnold.
yes.
That England.
Correct.
It's
correct.
coming home.
Yeah. Nah,
Yeah.
I get you. The three lions of England,
100%.
not France.
No, but look, Mr. E,
Yeah.
when you look at this game, one thing stands out, and that's the Jude Bellingham goal.
Yeah.
And the reason why it stands out is because out of all the players they have at their disposal,
Yeah.
the goal had to come from a midfield that was running in deep. Now, is that cause for concern or is it a good thing?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
Is that how Gareth Southgate is setting up his team?
Yeah.
Or is
Or
this
it
something
was
that
by
happened?
coincidence?
Was it a coincidence?
Yeah.
And now you have to think about this England side under Gareth Southgate for so many years.
Yeah.
I mean, you always had a Ivan Toney, Harry Kane up front.
Yeah.
And you had players like Sterling who thrive in situations where they have to support
Yeah.
a big number 9.
Yeah.
And now he's coming in. Jared Bowen is in the squad. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's more of an insurance policy. If things don't work out with me playing creative through a creative number 10 like a Jude Bellingham,
Yeah.
then I can always, pull out the insurance policy, which is
Yeah.
Abo Jared Bowen and Abo
Yeah.
Ivan Toney.
Yes.
So it tells
throw them into the mix.
it tells you something about
Yeah.
Gareth Southgate at this moment. He's willing to win it ugly.
Yeah.
He's willing to win it ugly,
Yeah.
which
But surely he should be doing that because he's been under pressure of late. Most critics I think he might not be the right man for the job.
100%, and I don't blame the critics. I don't blame
Yeah.
him either. He's been given ample time. He's been given
Yeah.
so much time to get this thing right. And last time out in the Euros, he got to the final and lost it to Italy.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where a lot of English fans will believe it's their turn.
Yeah.
They'll believe it's their trophy to win, and they will look at Gareth Southgate to make the right decisions. And look, he's dropped so much of the old guard. He's no Henderson,
Yeah.
no Rashford, no Sterling. None of those old players are in the squad anymore. No Smalling. His whole team looks new,
Yeah,
brand new.
yeah.
I mean, he has Anthony Gordon, Watkins, Ivan Toney, Cole Palmer, Eze is in the squad, Joe Gomez is in the squad,
Yeah.
Trent Alexander-Arnold, Jude Bellingham,
Yeah.
Dean Henderson, Luke Shaw.
Yeah.
You look at those players and you think to yourself, I mean, this is a whole new look to England.
Yeah.
You understand?
Probably he's looking beyond these Euros, maybe the World Cup
Exactly.
2026.
And he has to.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
look, he doesn't have that luxury
Yeah.
because, like you said, the fans are tired.
Yeah.
So he needs to make it happen now. If it doesn't happen now, he's out.
He needs to give results.
And you look at how fans were criticizing Phil Foden in this game.
Yeah.
And you look at which side Phil Foden started on.
Yeah.
Phil Foden usually starts on the right, cuts in, does his thing on the left.
Yeah.
Now the national team coach is like, I'm going to play you on the right.
Yeah.
Then he says to Trent Alexander-Arnold, I don't need your right back, I'm going to play you in the central midfield.
Yeah.
Yes, then
Yeah.
next to Declan Rice.
Yeah.
And that also rubbed people the wrong way. Some people
Yeah.
felt that it's not necessary to have the player play.
Yeah, most certainly. I told you that we'll be getting a lot of insights into some of these matches, and that's more for you. Yes, more. This is the time that I've been waiting for between these two nations,
Yeah.
Denmark and England.
Yeah.
Would you think is going to walk away victorious and probably top that group?
I think Denmark have a lot of firepower. I
Yeah.
think they have a lot of players that understand English football. I mean,
Yeah.
one of the main things is that most of these players
Eriksen
play.
is there as well.
Eriksen is
Yeah,
there.
Eriksen is there.
He's playing as well. But Rasmus Højlund, who plays
Yeah.
for Manchester United, is there as well.
Yeah.
So those are players in attack. I mean,
Yeah.
Kasper Schmeichel has a history in the Premier League. Anders Christensen also has a history in the Premier League. Now we
Yeah.
know he's all the way out there
Yeah.
in in Barcelona. We also have Vestergaard, who's also have history in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Pierre-Emile Højbjerg is also a player who plays in the Premier League. But that aside, I mean, one thing you have to give Denmark credit for is that they have a good set of players, and not
Yeah.
only that, most of these players have a lot of caps. They've made a lot of appearances for Denmark,
Yeah.
and that means the style of play has settled into them. So they won't be rocked. They won't
Yeah.
be shocked if they go 1-0 down. They still
Yeah.
want to play their football,
Yeah.
and they will be a team that will challenge for goals. I mean, you saw it in their first game where they were able to end the game at 1-1.
Yeah.
They can do the same thing against England. Nothing is
Yeah.
stopping them from doing that. But
Yeah.
there's a lot of talent up front. There's talent that plays a good brand of football. One thing that I've criticized England for so many years was that they never played their own style of football. You understand? It always felt like they would follow the trend of what was happening at the time.
Yeah.
And under Gareth Southgate, he's tried to play, the classic type of English football that we understood. The football we saw with your Sam Allardyce's, where it was uber defensive, but going up front,
Yeah.
you were trusting, your midfield to be dynamic,
Yeah.
and you were trusting your striker to be big and be able to put the ball in the back of the
Yeah.
net.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I asked you that question, was it a mistake or was it according to the
Coincidence.
strategy
Yeah.
that Jude Bellingham was on the score sheet?
Yeah.
Was that if it's a Jude Bellingham tournament, then the selection of Harry Kane is obsolete. You understand? That means Harry Kane is just showing space because
they don't need him.
You understand? He's not going to get the service he needs. Because now the service is going to Jude Bellingham. So what happens in games where teams want to play ugly and they lock up your midfield? That's when you're going to need a player like Harry Kane. So, but if you're going to start off with creative players, like, I mean, it's a fluid team. I mean, you look at that front four. You've got Bukayo Saka, pacey, dribbler. He's able to cut in from the left. You have Phil Foden. He does the exact same thing. But then you move him to the other side.
On the other side of the pitch.
And that's something that we used to criticize Gareth Southgate for doing with his fullbacks. Where you'd have Trent Alexander-Arnold playing left and have Kyle Walker on the right. You have like 5 right backs and you have to split them between the two positions. So which for me is also, why did you do that if you knew you're gonna put on a big number 9 at the front? For me, in this tournament, England need to play with a false 9. Put Jude Bellingham up front. Make space for someone else to come into the middle. Take Phil Foden, put him on the left, where he can play, where he's been effective for Manchester City, and then you take someone else, you put him on the left hand side. Then you can play your Trent Alexander-Arnold in the midfield, while also making space for another midfield dynamo that can come in and occupy that space. So if he's not want to play a false 9. Then I don't understand why he's going to put Jude Bellingham and Kane in the same team. One is going to strangle the other. You understand? They can't both exist in the same team. They play two different types of football.
So
I think that's one of the criticisms I have from the previous match. To say that if he's going to go far in this tournament, he'll have to make the decision very quickly. Does he want to support Kane or does he want to support Bellingham? And if he's going to support Kane, he must then choose. That means that he must get rid of Saka. He must put in Gerrard Bowen. You understand? That means, you understand, there's a lot of changes that will need to happen. Because he came with 3 different setups because of the players he has, and those players are going to play 3 different types of football. I mean, for Foden wants to play short passes and get into the box. Does he have the players to do that at this team? I don't think so. I don't think so.
More certainly. And now, again,
my prediction.
Your prediction.
I got carried away. My prediction has to go.
Well, I like it when you get carried away because you give us a lot of insight to what is happening and what could potentially happen within the 2 squads.
100%, Mr. E. I mean, the tournament has just begun. Obviously, we wanted to give the coaches a chance to be able to put up their best foot forward. So I think when it comes to this one, England is going to play out to a draw. Because I feel like they were lucky in the last game against Serbia. All it needed was one Mitrovic shot and it was done.
That was it. Those are the predictions of Fumo is saying, let's repeat that again. It's going to be
a draw.
A draw, that's the second draw.
I think I'd also go as far as to say a goalless second draw.
I
think England don't have the goals in them this time around.
Okay, those are the predictions of Fumo. Do you agree with him? Let's see that on the comment section. When we come back, we'll be taking a look at our third and final match. It's Netherlands going head to head with France. Les Bleus.
Les Bleus.
Les Bleus. We've had 2 draws so far in today's predictions. Mr. Moy has said the game between Spain and Italy is going to end in a draw, as well as Denmark and England. As we take a look at the third and final game, it's the big one, Netherlands versus France. And that game is going to take place at the Red Bull Stadium. And by the way, the Euros are underway in Germany. They are taking place in Germany. Mo, we have a big one on our hands.
Yeah, no, Mr. You
That's the one that I've been waiting for.
You were excited for this game. You already were referencing broken noses.
I couldn't wait to talk about broken noses, and you know what? Besides the broken nose, I want to talk about the mask.
Yes.
So now the captain Kylian Mbappe, he broke his nose. So for him to be able to continue with his participation in this tournament, they've gone on to create or rather manufacture a mask for him. And do you know what that reminds me? Of one picture of him that I once saw some time back, and he looked more like a mutant ninja turtle. I just wanted to get to this part of the show where we can talk about that.
I thought you were going to tell me about it. It reminds you of when Harry Kane was wearing a carbon fiber mask because I think he broke his cheekbone or something. I remember he scored one of the best goals of his career.
Yes.
And he just ripped that mask off.
You forgot that he was injured.
So I wonder if Kylian Mbappe will go through the same thing. But Mr. E, big match coming up. 2 coaches that are obviously well experienced when it comes to coaching the national teams, Ronald Koeman and Didier Deschamps. You look at the 2 sides, Mr. E, I have to say that I don't know if I should make a crack like you did, but
please go ahead. I'm in a happy mood right now. I just want to hear that.
It's the first time in a while that most people have ever seen the Netherlands field a team with one Van in the squad.
One Van.
Usually it's Van Bommel, Van Bronckhorst, Van Persie.
Van Persie as well.
So this time it's
Maybe
only
I should call
Van Dijk.
myself Van Mr. E.
Yeah, no, of course.
Mr.
Of
Van
course.
E. Yeah.
I mean, you're from
Yeah,
South
that
Africa. It
sounds-
makes
yeah.
sense, you know.
Mr. Van E. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember when the Netherlands was playing in South Africa and
Yeah.
the final was about to start against Spain.
Yeah.
And me and my dad were on the phone and he was like, you know what, the Netherlands will win this World Cup. I'm like,
Yeah.
why? It's like they're playing home, man.
Yeah, all of
I
them.
mean, there's Bronco Sprite.
yeah, he's,
So it's quite fun to go to their home, these people.
yeah, they're home, man.
So they went on to
Every
lose the
home
final.
matches.
I backed Spain because I used to love.
Yeah.
I backed Spain because I loved Alonso's football, and I was
Most
like, "This is my guy."
certainly. Yeah.
So let's get back into the conversation. I mean, the most important thing to remember here when it comes to Netherlands versus France is
yeah.
that these are two sides that know each other very well because
Yeah.
they've always competed at this level of football.
Yeah.
And the last time they met, obviously, was in the Euros. Not in the Euros, but it was in the Euros.
The
It was way
Euros,
back in. It was in the Euros. Was the qualifiers?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
That
Why is my memory running? Oh no, man! UEFA Nations League.
Oh, the net you had.
Yes. So they met twice in the qualifiers,
Yeah.
and they also met in the UEFA Nations League, where Netherlands were able to nudge that result by 2-0
Yeah.
in the Nations League. The last time they met was in the qualifiers, where France won both games, winning it on an aggregate of 6-1, meaning that they won the first game 4-0, they won the second game 2-1,
2-1,
putting that aggregate on 4-1. So obviously,
Yeah.
for Netherlands is not going to be a good memory, but
Yeah.
they need to do something with it. I mean, this time Kylian Mbappe is injured, and maybe that could play in their favor.
Yeah,
but at the same time, you have
because
to
I doubt very much if he's going to be fit enough for this encounter. Maybe the next one, not this
100%. And
Yeah.
you know, a lot of people have pointed out to the fact that Virgil van Dijk is not the player he used to be.
Yeah.
And I think when it comes to tournaments of this nature, especially at football at this level,
Yeah.
he needs to be the player they need him to be, because he's got Stefan de Vrij next to him, who's also a fantastic centre back.
Yeah.
He's got Nathan Ake to his left. He's got Dumfries as his right back. I mean,
Yeah.
as a centre back, what more
Seasoned
could you
players.
ask for?
Yeah.
Those are good quality
Yeah.
full backs and centre back right next to you. And then you look in front of him. I mean, you have a good span of midfielders. But
Yeah.
for France, you need to think about that front three: Marcus
Yeah.
Thuram, Asman
Yeah.
Dembele,
Not short
and
of
Kylian
stars as well.
Mbappe.
That's France.
Anton Griezmann.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a big game for both sides. And with N'Golo Kante added to the team,
Yeah.
you know, the one thing about playing against N'Golo Kante is that he's everywhere, all time,
All
every
time.
time.
He's a workhorse.
So how do you shut that down? I mean,
Yeah.
you have to always think about how you're going to play around N'Golo Kante, not how you're going to play through him.
Yeah, I think it's going to be instrumental for France in that game there.
100%.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be able to play through him. I mean, N'Golo Kante, with Adrian Rabiot pulling the strings, N'Golo Kante running the midfield rugged,
Yeah.
those guys are going to have a hard time trying to manage the ball in the middle of the park. But
yeah.
also at the back, William Saliba for France,
Yeah.
Upamecano at the back.
Yeah.
It's gonna be it's a world class game. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
I'm just excited. It's just every player on this team
yeah.
you can name twice.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about the last game they played, Netherlands had to go to their bench for help.
Yeah.
They bring on Frimpong.
Yeah.
Frimpong, who was playing for Bayer Leverkusen, who finished the season as an invincible and went on to play in the final of the Europa League.
Yeah.
So you look at both these sides. I mean, even when they pull to their benches, they still have stars and stars and stars and stars. So this game is good enough to be a final in any one of these tournaments.
Yeah.
It's good enough to be a crunch match.
Yeah.
So it's going to be one of those matches that this weekend no one wants to miss. We're all going to be sitting there with our shirts either orange or blue, and supporting Le Bleu or the Oranje.
What color shirt are you going to be wearing?
Mr. E.
I think it's going to be orange.
It has to be orange.
Yeah,
it has to be
definitely.
orange. That was the only 2010 was the first time and only
Yeah.
I mean the only time when I was like, no, I'll go against Oranje.
Yeah.
But the football team, by the way.
Yeah.
But the football team.
Oh yeah.
We have to be specific.
I just wanted to cut in there and say, okay, what are we talking about now?
We have to remember geographically where we are.
Yeah.
So yes, that was about the only time I went.
Yeah.
Like, when they played against Portugal in the final of the UEFA Nations League, I really thought they were gonna win it. I mean, I looked at Portugal at the time. I thought they were thin when it came to defensive prowess. I mean, they still had Rui Patricio at the back. I didn't think they had the defenders for it. And look, they managed to score the goals they managed to score a goal without Ronaldo that got them the championship. But when it comes to this game, I think between the two teams, Netherlands has a lot more to prove than France.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that from a point where France has won a World Cup, therefore. No, I'm saying it from a point of, like I said, a goal difference of 6-1.
Yeah.
You understand? In the qualifiers.
Sure.
It speaks volumes of...
Yeah, it speaks volumes, yeah.
If Netherlands are going to see themselves mentioned amongst the Spains, the Italies,
yeah.
the Germans,
Germans,
you
yeah.
know, in football context,
Yeah.
they need to win matches like this.
Yeah, most certainly. They will be going head to head with the World Cup finalists. That's France. And I can tell you right now, Didier Deschamps wants to win this one. Now, who do you think is going to top that group there? Because it also features the likes of Poland and Austria, that are still to pick up a win.
I mean, the whole conversation around that question you're asking.
Yeah.
The group looks the way it's supposed to look. I won't even lie. Everybody was thinking.
I like that when you say it looks the way it's supposed to look. Before is it going to end like this?
I'm not sure if it's going to end like this, but I think everyone before the tournament would have placed their bets on Netherlands topping the group, France being second.
Yeah.
Hold on. It doesn't look the way it's supposed to look.
No.
France topping the group, Netherlands second, Poland third, Austria last.
Yeah, they can take the last two spots, which is third and fourth. That's immaterial because you will not qualify on position 3 and 4.
Yeah, at the same time, France need to win in this game.
Yeah.
Netherlands need to win this game.
Most certainly. France has to make a statement, considering the fact that they won the last game by 1-0 when they were playing against Austria. I thought it was going to be harvest of goals.
I mean, do you not think that these players are tired? I mean, you're
they
playing,
could be tired.
I mean, you're
week
playing
in, week out.
Imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like France's players are tired at this point. I mean, same coach, same tactics, another
Same
tournament
everything.
again. It's been 2
Nothing
World Cups.
interesting.
It's been another couple of Euros.
Yeah.
I think now it's just communication fatigue. They're too familiar.
Yeah.
You know, there's just okay, Kylian Mbappe is the coach.
Yeah.
Yes, that is too familiar. If I was them, I would have given the captaincy to N'Golo Kante.
And then you would have that midfield dynamo.
Yeah, but then
boxing and fighting with everybody in that in the middle of the park.
But also, what does that say about the quality of N'Golo Kante? Let's take a second to observe the quality of this man. This man left European football.
Yeah.
He's playing in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Most of us haven't seen him play in about a year.
But
Didier Deschamps is like, there's no other Kante in the world.
There's no any other person who can do what I want him to do.
There's no other Kante in the world. So quality player.
He's a contender for one of the greatest players
of all
to
time,
come out
100%.
from France.
He reminds for the older generation, he reminds them of Claude Makelele. The conversation will be Makelele or Kante.
Kante. Yeah, but if you had to ask me, I think Makalele.
Yeah, see, you can tell the age groups.
Yeah, I'm just giving away my age. That's how it is here in the studio. We're having so much fun. What do you think about the insights of more about the matches in Group D? He's saying France is going to top that one there, and probably Netherlands will take the second spot. But we're going to confirm that. Let's quickly get into the predictions of this group here. It's Group D. Netherlands against France.
100%, Mr. Ian. I think this game is going to go to France.
Yeah.
I think Netherlands will not get. In fact, let me not lie. I think the Netherlands are going to take this result by 2-1. I think it's going to be tight.
Are you saying Netherlands is going to beat France?
Yeah. If it's not 2 goals, it's going to be 3 goals to 2.
Can you say that in French so that maybe the francophone our francophone fans can understand you?
For all of you who came to watch me speak French in this episode, I can't speak French.
Yeah.
But Mr. E knows how to speak French.
Oui, je parle français.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Le français. Yeah, français.
Yeah, that's more for you there. He's saying Netherlands is going to claim the scalp of France and win and top that group, which is Group D. Let's quickly take a recap on today's matches. Mr. Mo, let's start with the first one that we featured today. That's Spain versus Italy, just to remind our viewers at home.
It's a draw.
And we've got Denmark. They'll be going head-to-head with the Three Lions.
It's a draw.
And in a Group D encounter, the big one for this weekend, Netherlands will be going head-to-head against France.
This Netherlands. I was going to say in French, but I don't know how to speak French. So I'll say that is the Netherlander.
I'm quiet as I speak. I'm trying to find out what I can say in French there, but my French has slipped. But anyway, that's those are the predictions of Fumo. He's saying the Netherlands is going to beat France. What are your thoughts and what do you think about his predictions? Let us know in the comments section. But I think France is going to take this one here. I think France is definitely going to be a winner. Thank you very much for watching this episode of the Disky Preview Show. Until we meet next time, my name is yours truly, Mr. E and Mr.
Mo. Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Yeah.